Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, Canelo versus Crawford. That's the fight that's being floated for first quarter of next year, 2025. It makes sense for Canelo. Crawford's one of the few names out there that really makes sense. There's really only 3 opponents out there for Canelo. It's the Crawford fight, which people will want to see. Some people are clamoring for. There's David Benavidez, and of course there's a winner of Beterbiev versus Bivol. There's really only 2 fights out there for Canelo that makes the perfect sense for him and for the people that in the know what they see in the boxing game, the astute viewers of this fight game. There's really only 2 opponents: David Benavidez, winner of Bivol versus Beterbiev rematch, and then right off to the sunset. It's one of the greatest fighters that ever lived in retirement. This Crawford fight is just an icing on a cake. Just a scalp added to his very impressive resume. Canelo Alvarez makes easy work. Terence Crawford, this fight gets materialized. It's just really not a competitive fight. Crawford is going to chase greatness, going to want to prove that he's one of the best ever, and he is. He's a great fighter. I was convinced after he destroyed Jeff Horn, and I've been picking him in every fight since. Spence was easy work. Knew that was going to be the case when that fight was being materialized for years. When Spence had the car crash and goes life and death with Sean Porter, can't even knock out a lightweight. I mean, I was just dumbfounded that people actually thought Spence was going to beat Crawford. You can't even stop a lightweight. What are you going to do against Terence Crawford? Wasn't even a contest. Embarrassing feat. Now Crawford is chasing all-time status. There's really competition when it comes to pound-for-pound number 1. You can say it's Crawford. You can say it's Usyk. Most people will say it's Usyk. But if Crawford wants to separate himself from that pound-for-pound race, he's got to do something special, like Alexander Usyk did in defeating the giants of the heavyweight division. And not only giants, but a great giant in Tyson Fury. Even though on the slimmest of margins. But this is more than he could chew. Crawford ain't gonna do shit to Canelo. He can't even put a dent in Madrimov. Didn't really set the world on fire in that performance. Had he knocked out Madrimov, this fight would be a lot more intriguing. Maybe a lot more people would be picking Crawford. Maybe I'd be second guessing myself and saying, hey, maybe Crawford does have a shot. But he couldn't put a dent in that boy. A green champion in Madrimov. A very talented champion. Very skilled champion. A very good fighter in Madrimov. But had Madrimov had more experience, if he wasn't as green as he was with less than 15 fights or whatever it was, he probably would have had his hand raised in that fight. Crawford's experience was the difference in that fight, which is why he got his hand raised. Crawford barely won that fight. It was probably his best win overall on his resume in terms of the opponent, his ability, and it was a very intriguing fight. When it was announced, I was like, wow, that's a very interesting fight. Probably the most dangerous fight Crawford is going to be in. And it showed in the ring. Crawford was getting touched up. It was very competitive. But Crawford showed his greatness, separated himself in the latter rounds, and eked out a very close, tight 7-5 type decision in his very first fight at super welterweight. But was that type of performance that's going to convince you that he's going to do anything to Canelo? Canelo's a bigger guy. He's a much stronger guy than Madrimov. He's a more skilled guy, a much more seasoned, accomplished fighter. This is going to be easy work for Canelo Alvarez. Crawford couldn't put a dent in Madrimov. He's not going to do much against Canelo either. Crawford is just too big, too good at this stage. Still has some left, even though he's 34 years old and very, very experienced. It's going to be too much of a jump for Crawford, but, you know, if Crawford wants to take that chance, he might as well. It was a big payday. He gets his ass whooped. There's no shame. He'll lose to a much bigger guy, a very accomplished guy, and possibly, one of the best fighters of this era. So it's really a no lose situation. The pressure will be on Canelo to win this fight. It will be on Canelo to win this fight, and it's really a situation where Canelo can't. He has to dominate this fight. He can't just let this be competitive. But I don't see much. I don't see much of a contest here. Crawford ain't gonna hurt Canelo. Canelo's gonna be able to touch him with the right hand. Much bigger guy, a more skilled guy, especially compared to Madrimov. But it'll be intriguing in terms of if Crawford can do it. He's shown great ability at the higher weights, but this is a whole nother level, jumping up to super middleweight and taking on the Mexican legend. It'll be as fun for as long as it lasts. Crawford is going to try like hell to win this fight, but it's just not going to be enough. And Canelo, it's a good opportunity for him. He'll be on a world stage for a lot of money, and he should be a heavy favorite to win, or significant favorite at least. But he shouldn't get no props for beating a former lightweight champion in Terence Crawford. This opponent is similar to his previous opponents. A significant big money fight, but not the most riskiest fight on the table. So looks like this fight is gonna go down. There's really only a couple of opponents that make sense for Canelo. He's running out of opponents. Crawford fits the bill in terms of money, the least riskiest opponent out there compared to a David Benavidez or Beterbiev rematch winner. Canelo might as well just, take that scalp, add it to his resume, but he should get no props for beating up on a former lightweight champ. But good luck, Terence. I'll be watching with intrigue to see if you can pull it off. I don't think you're going to, but, that's why we fight the fights. Boxing is the theater of unexpected, and we'll see if you can pull off what will be a very significant major upset. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about this fight. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.